What is up, everybody? Welcome back to Chase's Sports News. I am your host, Chase Coburn, here with you today. Every year on June 1st, we usually see a lot of moves because it's a time period in the National Football League where getting rid of some players helps you because you don't need to eat up as much of the cap and as much of the dead cap going forward. So every year we often see a lot of moves on June 1st, but very rarely do we see two superstar players in pretty much the middle of their primes get dealt to contenders to amplify their Super Bowl chances. Two teams that were just in the conference championship, one of which just in the Super Bowl. It was Myles Garrett to the Rams and A.J. Brown to the Patriots. I'm going to break down both of those moves, how shocking they really were, and what they really mean for both teams and in each trade, and each of the four teams and the trajectory of that squad going forward here ahead of the 2026 NFL season and beyond. Hope you guys do enjoy. Please subscribe, follow, share, do what you need to do to keep up with the content. A lot of fun content coming up soon. Obviously NBA finals coming out. We got a lot of MLB stuff. I am soon having my high school finals, so for a few days we may not have any coverage, but don't worry, you guys are going to want to stick around because we got a lot of fun stuff coming up soon. I don't want you guys to miss any of it. Let's start off with the move that took place earlier on the June 1st date, and that was Myles Garrett going to the Los Angeles Rams. I'm not going to give grades for these trades, but really break it down. And look, I made an immediate reaction to this, and obviously the Rams are now loaded with talent. Here's my view on the Myles Garrett to the Rams trade. Was it an overpay from LA? From the standpoint of it's a 30-year-old edge rusher with probably his best seasons behind him in exchange for another promising young talent and a few pretty valuable draft selections, I get how, from that standpoint, some could view it as an overpay. But I will never, in any sport, criticize a team for going all in by trading for a player if they don't sacrifice the construction of their roster. The Rams did it, and now they have a Super Bowl window, and they're going all in. And I'm not blaming them for it. That's the right decision. In the NBA, I get mad at teams sometimes for making the all-in trade, what I call the panic move. I hated when the Bucks traded for Damian Lillard or when the Nets traded for James Harden because it was sacrificing such a strong infrastructure to go all in on a superstar. That's a big risk. Not here, though. This one was pretty much a swap of one very good player for a guy at the same position who, in my opinion, is the best player in the NFL without giving up too many draft selections, right? The Rams gave up one first-round pick and swapped edge rushers to get the better one for a player who just broke the NFL sack record and has won 2 of the 3 most recent Defensive Player of the Year awards. They easily now, the Rams, have the most talented roster in the NFL, and they're setting themselves up well. So I'm never going to get mad at a team for going all in without really sacrificing the construction of their roster. Because now the core is Matthew Stafford, Puka Nacua, Kyron Williams, Devontae Adams, a ton of playmakers on the offensive end, maybe some weaknesses on the offensive line, but a very strong group. Again, the MVP's in there. You got an Offensive Player of the Year contender perennially. And then defensively now, you have a unit that doesn't have many true weaknesses, and now add Myles Garrett. And then add on top of that, arguably the best head coach in the NFL in Sean McVay, who is an offensive mastermind and has always maximized on the talent around him, made multiple Super Bowls, multiple conference championships, won multiple division titles. That's the type of guy he is. So the Rams are going all in, and I don't blame them because they have the talent to do it, and they are right now the Super Bowl favorite from where we stand currently. But from a Cleveland standpoint, I also think it makes sense for the Browns. They've had really 2 years in this Myles Garrett era where they've been contenders, but they never made an AFC championship game in that stretch. They were never a Super Bowl threat. And look, now this team has stockpiled a few strong drafts consecutively now, some really, really good drafts, and are laying the foundation for its young core. Having one star player in Myles Garrett, who is incredible, the best player in the NFL, but having one star player get 20 sacks a season just to win 5 games, that does nothing for either party. It doesn't help out Myles Garrett. Doesn't have a chance to win a Super Bowl there, and the Browns aren't contending with his value. And instead, they acquire a talent in Jared Verse, who is extremely underrated, still young, can still try and reach our maximum potential. And now the young core, and I'm probably going to miss some guys, looks like Jared Verse, Basic Grab, Carson Schlesinger, Quinshaw Judkins, Harold Fannin, some rookies this year, Denzel Boston, Casey Concepcion, Spencer Fano, Emmanuel McNeil-Warren. We'll see if really anything is there with Shedeur Sanders. I mean, that's a group that in 2 seasons, I think, can become great if you get the right quarterback in place, say that's in the draft or say that's in free agency. And I think while it's bittersweet for Browns fans, getting rid of Garrett to add another promising young talent, I mean, that's what you need to do. He's 30 years old. you're not a contender. You had to get rid of him. It's bittersweet. It wasn't anyone's fault, but you just had to get rid of him. I think it's a win-win trade on both sides. I think it makes sense for the trajectory of both teams and where they want to go, but it will certainly be weird to see Myles Garrett not on the Cleveland Browns because I feel like we've grown so accustomed to seeing Garrett in Cleveland, but instead now he's in LA, and it's a clear opportunity for him and this Rams team to go out and win a Super Bowl. And then the second big trade was A.J. Brown to the New England Patriots. I think the A.J. Brown to the Patriots deal is very much a win-win deal for both the Eagles and the Patriots. It's a 2028 first, a 2027 day 3 selection. I think that's fine value on both sides, especially for what was transpiring in Philadelphia. Jordan Mailata came out afterwards and said, quote, "Thank God it's over." I mean, it's clear things were very contentious, things were disputatious, and I think now the Eagles get a chance to reset their offense. And look, I still think A.J. Brown's a great player. I don't think he's what he is. I don't think he is what he used to be. I think there were some locker room troubles, but I'm not sure if he's that much better than Devonta Smith at this point. He's extended. He's in that wide receiver room, and the Eagles were able to get the steal of the first round and bringing in Mekhi Lemon, who could be an immediate contributor. Right, no matter what the issue was, getting rid of a less productive than he used to be, soon to be 29-year-old who clearly was a locker room cancer, that's worth it considering you already have a surplus of talent offensively. I wouldn't be too worried if I'm Philadelphia, and I don't think they gave up. Or I think the value they got in return was fine because I still think they have enough offensively to be successful. You get a new offensive coordinator there, the offensive line plays better. You're going to have enough in the receiving core to help out Jalen Hurts. Really, the key to the offense is not going to be whether you have A.J. Brown or Mekhi Lemon or whoever that was going to be. The key to the offense is going to be, can you unlock the running game again? Because that wasn't there for a better part of last year. And so that's going to be the key to the offense. So I don't think it's going to be not having A.J. Brown that's going to be a hindrance. They have the talent there. It's just going to come down to the scheme and the execution for the rushing attack. So I would not be concerned if I'm Philadelphia with this trade at all. They got decent value in return. On the flip side, I also think this move makes perfect sense for the New England Patriots. They're finally starting to surround Drake May with true weapons, and he was arguably the most accurate quarterback in the league last year. By completion percentage, he was. You added Romeo Doubs. He proved he was productive in the playoffs. He's proven that he can be a go-getter for an offense. And now you add Brown, who is definitely a wide receiver 1 level, and especially for Drake May on those deep patterns. Right? Whether you love Drake May or hate Drake May, you can't deny the fact that he was one of the best deep throwers in the National Football League last year. And consistently, year after year, A.J. Brown has been one of the best deep receivers in the National Football League. And so I think this move makes sense, and you're finally starting to surround Drake May with real talent, which is very, very important for this team. Do I think the Patriots are going to replicate another 14-win season? No, that's for a multitude of reasons. That's number one, it's always hard to replicate, even if the roster's better. But there are many reasons why I don't think that's going to be the case. But the core feels talented enough to build off of what they did last year. Because winning 14 games isn't always a secret sauce. In the playoffs, if they get in, I think this is a much better receiving core and so much better for an offense that you saw when they played elite defenses last year. Drake was not great, but it wasn't all on May, right? They didn't have the receiving core to really provide for him when he's not a runner, right? Like Lamar Jackson didn't always need an elite receiver. Josh Allen didn't always need an elite receiver because they are also mobile quarterbacks. That's not Drake May. So you have to cater to your quarterback skill set. And I think now that you get two really, really good receivers in one-on-one situations and guys who can catch the deep ball as good as Eddie, and especially now A.J. Brown, that's important. And that shows New England building around Drake May, prioritizing their future, and perhaps continuing to open a Super Bowl window as long as kind of off the field issues don't intersect. So I agree with this trade for both sides. I think the Eagles are going to be just fine. I mean, I view the Eagles still as one of the best teams in the NFL. Trying to figure out whether that's biased or not. I feel like there's some teams you just love. I feel like I always like the construction of Philly's roster. It wasn't too long ago they won a Super Bowl. I would be worried from an Eagles standpoint. And for a Patriots standpoint, you're getting a wide receiver 1 without giving up too much value in exchange. And you're really adding a 29-year-old who maybe just needed a fresh start and can return to his elite level of form that we saw a few years ago. Win-win trade for both the Myles Garrett to the Browns trade as well as the A.J. Brown to the Patriots trade. Thank you guys so much for tuning into this edition of Chase's Sports News. Let me know what you guys think. A little bit of a shorter episode, but wanted to break down some of these moves to a more in-depth level because I do think that there are a lot of fascinating moves that could take place in the NFL season still to come, but a lot of kind of subsequent results that could follow from two of the biggest trades here from the June 1st NFL move. So I wanted to break that down here really quick. Hope you guys did enjoy. Please subscribe, follow, share, do what you need to do to keep up with all the content. A lot of NFL coverage, a lot of NBA Finals coverage, a lot of NBA draft coverage, a lot of MLB coverage. We're going to have it all right here on Chase's Sports News, and you don't want to miss any of it. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Signing off, I'm your host, Chase Coburn, saying so long from Chase's Sports News.